talk to each of you a little bit about the role that technology plays in your work. Obviously, the entertainment and media industries are affected by this ever-evolving technology. So what are some ways that you, as content creators, have had to evolve along with technology? And how do you use technology in your job?
For me, in the music industry, it has like totally upended the music industry. We don't have the tape machines anymore, and the consoles got smaller, and then the consoles went away, and we're now just working what we call in the box, just on the computer. And so you don't need a big expensive space anymore. Even the way we interact with artists and producers, it's different. You know, in the world that we live in now, I could have worked on an artist's 4th album and never met the artist. You know, you can work with somebody for a long period of time and never meet them because of technology, and they can do their vocals and just send them to you and email them to you, and you have them in 5 minutes. And you know, so it's such a different world in the music industry. When you got more tools at your fingertips, everybody wants more. And when it used to take, relatively 2 months to mix an album, now they want you to mix it in 2 days or 3 days, or because your workflow is different. And what used to take me, honestly, just something as simple as flying hooks in a song, repeating the hooks down a song, that's like a 45 to about an hour and 15-minute process on tape machine. That's literally a 15-second process now. I can just copy, paste. It's a 2-finger stroke process that I can do in 15 seconds that used to take me sometimes 2 hours.
Did you personally find that shift hard because you started off working tape?
Yeah.
Yeah? So was it hard for you to get your head around that change to digital?
Not for me. For a lot of people, it was. I'm never the long live analog. I'm not that guy. I am the whatever the kids are doing, I'm in. Teach me. I want to know.
Do you remember the first project that you worked on that was digital?
Yes. Michael Jackson. I worked on the History album in 1995, and it changed my life because mid-90s, that year is when we stopped using tape and we really transitioned into Pro Tools was in that year, 95. And so when we went to work with Michael, I had been exposed to a whole ton of technology at once. And I was hanging around all the assistants and the younger guys, like I said earlier, and I was like, hey, teach me how to do this. Teach me how to use Melodyne. Teach me how to do this. Teach me how to do that. And I learned a whole lot. 95 was like the year when I had my technology, input overload.
Steven, you were very instrumental at HBO in shifting over from shooting on film to shooting digital. And that, as I understand, that was something that was born out of necessity. HBO wasn't necessarily wanting to make the shift.
Yeah. No, I mean, I joined HBO because of Game of Thrones. I sort of started on Game of Thrones before I worked for HBO. And that was sort of in the conceptualizing phase of the project. And one of the major things was, in our case, Westeros is Northern Ireland. It's for so many reasons, but a major reason being it looks like nowhere else on the planet. But one major thing is there's no film lab there. There's no film lab for hours and hours and plane rides away. Film wasn't just, impossible for financial reasons, but just logistically it wasn't really possible. But HBO at that point was 98% film. And so it really wasn't just the decision to transition to digital, it was this sort of reimagining of what it meant to, speak HBO's visual language. We do have a hallmark, like our shows look a certain way. And so protecting that and finding our path to producing in a modern way, which in this case was producing digitally, I think we fairly elegantly transitioned now to about 80-90% digital. And I don't think people have noticed that all of a sudden everything on HBO looks different. We're constantly evolving that. We want to make the best looking shows out there. We want to feature film on television. Technology, empowered that. We would not be able to make Game of Thrones if we did not meet, in this case, the Alexa and the folks at Arri at the time where that camera was something brand new. We had cameras 1 through 9, the first 9 they built, and we were getting them every 2 weeks. As they would finish building them in Munich, they would send them to us in Northern Ireland. The first one didn't have time code. To get it to run, we had to plug it into a battery, and it just started recording, and then when we were done, we'd unplug it. It was nuts, but that's what led us to get what we got and get to where we are. And now it's so much a part of our methodology that we spend a lot of time every year sort of producing these, what we call image dictionaries, this project, this documentary that looks at the state of the art of that imaging technology, because it's what keeps us informed, it's what keeps our aesthetic, it's what keeps our hallmark moving forward.
I want to switch over to Steve for a second, because you work at a stop motion animation studio,
Yes.
which is very much grounded in practical effects.
Yes, very much so.
So you're taking this kind of old school, very practical way of shooting something, and you're applying technology to that. How do you guys find that balance?
Stop motion is an incredibly old technology, maybe 80 years old. And we do nothing the way they used to do it before. I was listening to what Leslie was saying about how the way technology has shrunken everything and crammed everything into a box. But my world is a little different. We have the same box cramming, but instead of like taking it out of the studio, they've just filled the studio with more boxes. So my threshold for what's expected keeps moving. The camera moves keep getting more dramatic. And it's really amazing that the last thing that Leica did, we built hexapods. We built 5 of them, which is unheard of. They've been used in visual effects before, but they've always been rented by an outside source. We couldn't afford to rent them, so we just built our own and the software. And every face you see in our productions has been storyboarded, and then it's been animated in Maya because we can't sculpt them accurately enough on stage anymore. They used to be plasticine back in the day, and then they were sculpted. So it's animated to the track, and then it's fed into our 3D printers where the faces are printed out and they're taken out to the stage and rephotographed. So we've actually done the movie 2 or 3 times because the target keeps moving. With every step of technology allows you to get faster. But now we have workstations on all the stages which allow you to pre-comp out there, so you can make 5 different layers of things. And every light is on DMX, and you got front lights and back lights and blah, 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 blah.
Amazing.
We'll get through this. It's okay.
I think it's like magic, you know? I think that the goal is for somebody watching that to go, how did they do that?
It is, and it should be seamless. You should look at it and go, they're just playing with puppets.
Elbert, so these guys are talking about how they apply technology.
Right.
You're actually making new technology
Right.
to give to people who work in a workflow situation. Can you explain what Rumi is?
Right. So Rumi is basically what we would see as a teleconferencing solution. Now that VR is in a place where people can accept it, and it's actually affordable, and it's getting even more affordable, right? And it's not just about technology, it's about how people work, right? So we have all work all around the world with teams separate, Westworld, you guys have been working in many locations, right? But the technology to enable that hasn't really evolved, right? We're still kind of sticking to 2D screens, or we're still emailing, and it doesn't handle the workflow that we have right now. Our company is actually fully virtual. Everyone's all over the world, and we use our product every day to communicate. And it's such an effective tool that we don't even want to use the other tools that we have anymore, because it's like, why would we use that? So we are literally living the technology that we are developing so that we can actually create it better.
Nice.
And it's challenging, right? Because we have to build everything. There's no one I can look to, oh, how did they do it? I don't know. No one has done it before, so we're doing it right now.
So thanks to you, I have to put on pants to do conference calls.
No, you don't have to.
it's just
No.
It's a reverse.
Oh, okay. I was
So
worried.
you can keep your
that-
pants off.
Virtual pants.